YouTube is live now. All right, everybody. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. It is April. August the 22nd, 2021. Day 240 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. And today we're reading Ezekiel 47, 48. I want to say it's 49 chapters. I meant to come back yesterday and check Ezekiel, all right? Because I know we're about done. I think today is going to be our last day in Ezekiel. So let me look at it real quick. Double check my chapters. Okay. Auntie Belinda Brown, shalom. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Okay. 48 chapters in Ezekiel. Okay, so we're reading Ezekiel 47 and the last chapter 48. And then we go to the book of Daniel. Yes. We finally made it to Daniel. Okay. We read the first chapter of Daniel today. Levon. Dream Sky Lover. Shalom, shalom. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and get this party started. Right here. All right, y'all. So we're reading Ezekiel 47, 48, and Daniel chapter 1. And then we're going to pick up where we left off at in Fossilized Customs on page 351. But I actually think we started on 352 because we read all the way to the end of 351. No, I'm sorry. No, we read to the end of 350 and we start on 351. Okay. All right, y'all. So let's do this Shema. Which is found in Deuteronomy chapter 6, starting at verse 3. Hear, therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as Yahuwah, the mighty one of our fathers, has promised us in the land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our mighty one, he is one. And you shall love Yahuwah, your mighty one, with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. And Yahuwah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Yahuwah, our mighty one, for our good always, that he might preserve us alive as it is at this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Yahuwah, our mighty one, as he has commanded us. Christy, hey girl, hey. All right, y'all. Ezekiel chapter 47, the river of healing. In my vision, the man brought me back to the entrance of the temple. There I saw a stream flowing east from beneath the door of the temple and passing to the right of the altar on its south side. The man brought me outside the wall through the north gate and led me around to the eastern entrance. There I could see the water flowing out through the south side of the east gateway. Measuring as he went, he took me along the stream for 1,750 feet and then led me across. The water was up to my ankles. He measured off another 1,750 feet and led me across again.
You said you were going to make my smoothie and get the message from me.
Okay, so I got this. I told you I would make the smoothie after the reading. You want some of this now?
Oh.
Okay, you want to take it to Dad? Well, sis, don't come down here first thing this morning with all that.
No.
Okay, she got a stuffy nose, y'all. This time, the water was up to my knees. After another 1,070 feet, it was up to my waist. Then he measured another 1,750 feet, and the river was too deep to walk across. It was deep enough to swim in, but too deep to walk through. He asked me, "Have you been watching, son of man?" Then he led me back along the riverbank. When I returned, I was surprised by the sight of many trees growing on both sides of the river. Then he said to me, "This river flows east through the desert into the valley of the Dead Sea. The waters of this stream will make the salty waters of the Dead Sea fresh and pure. There will be swarms of living things wherever will abound in the Dead Sea, for its waters will become fresh. Life will flourish wherever this water flows. Fishermen will stand along the seashores of the Dead Sea, all the way from En-Gedi to En-Eglaim. The shores will be covered with nets drying in the sun. Fish of every kind will fill the Dead Sea, just as they fill the Mediterranean. But the marshes and the swamps will not be purified, they will still be salty. Fruit trees of all kinds will grow along both sides of the river. The leaves of these trees will never turn brown and fall, and there will always be fruit on their branches. There will be a new crop every month, for they are watered by the river flowing from the temple. The fruit will be food, the fruit will be for food, and the leaves for healing. The boundaries of the land. This is what the sovereign Lord says. Divide the land in this way for the 12 tribes of Israel. The descendants of Joseph will be given 2 shares of land. Otherwise, each tribe will receive an equal share. I took a solemn oath and swore that I would give this land to your ancestors, and I will now come to you as your and it will now come to you as your possession. These are the boundaries of the land. The northern border will run from the Mediterranean toward Hethlon, then on through Lebo Hamath to Zedad. Then it will run to Berothah and Sibram, which are on the border between Damascus and Hamath, and finally to Hazar Hattikon on the border of Huran. So the northern border will run from the Mediterranean to the Hazar Enan on the border between Hamath to the north and Damascus to the south. The eastern border starts at a point between Huran and Damascus and runs south along the Jordan River between Israel and Gilead, past the Dead Sea, as far south as Tamar. This will be the eastern border. Ooh, so whoever is on that eastern border, we just read about this Dead Sea and everything that grows along it, all that is in your borders. The eastern border starts at a point between Huran and Damascus and runs south along the river between Israel and Gilead, past the Dead Sea, and as far south as Tamar. This will be the eastern border. The southern border will go west from Tamar to the waters of Meribah at Kadesh, and then follow the course of the brook of Egypt to the Mediterranean. This will be the southern border. On the west side, the Mediterranean itself will be your border from the southern border to the point where the northern border begins, opposite Lebo Hamath. Divide the land within these boundaries among the tribes of Israel. Distribute the land as an allotment for yourselves and for the foreigners who have joined you and are raising their families among you. And they will be like native born Israelites to you and will receive an allotment among the tribes. These foreigners are to be given land within the territory of the tribe with whom they now live. I, the sovereign Lord, have spoken. Ooh, man, my voice was cracking. Okay. Last chapter for the book of Ezekiel, Ezekiel chapter 48, division of the land. Here is the list of the tribes of Israel and the territory each is to receive. The territory of Dan is in the extreme north. Its boundary lines follow the Hethlon road to Lebo Hamath and then runs on to Hazar Enan on the border of Damascus with Hamath to the north. Dan's territory extends all the way across the land of Israel from east to west. Asher's territory lies south of Dan's and also extends from east to west. Naphtali's land lies south of Asher's also extending from east to west. Then comes Manasseh, south of Naphtali, and its territory also extends from east to west. South of Manasseh is Ephraim, and then Reuben, and then Judah, all whose boundaries extends from east to west. Oh, so I see. Hold on, I'm sitting here thinking. So if they're, I'm thinking about what I just read. So they start here and their borders, they're pretty much on top of each other and they're running from east to west, which means just about all of them, they all should be able to partake in the riches that are being grown along the Dead Sea. Because if the river is running this way and the lands are going across, yeah. So everybody is like, yeah, you get a bit of everything. Okay. Asher's territory lies south of Dan's and also extends from east to west. Naphtali's land lies south of Asher's, also extending from east to west. Then comes Manasseh south of Naphtali, and its territory also extends from east to west. South of Manasseh is Ephraim, and then Reuben, and then Judah, all of whose boundaries extend from east to west. South of Judah is the land South of Judah is the land set aside for a special purpose. It will be 8 1/3 miles wide and will extend as far east and west as the tribal territories, with the temple at the center. The area set aside for Yahuwah's temple will be 8 1/3 miles long and 6 2/3 miles wide. For the priests there will for the priests there will be a strip of For the priests, there would be a strip of land measuring 8 1/3 miles long by 3 1/3 miles wide, with Yahuwah's temple at the center. This area is set aside for the ordained priests, the descendants of Zadok, who served me faithfully and did not go astray with the people of Israel and the rest of the Levites. It will be their special portion when the land is distributed, the most sacred land of all. Next to the priest's territory will lie the land where the other Levites will live. The allotment, the land allotted to the Levites will be the same size and shape that as that belonging to the priests, 8 1/3 miles long and 3 1/3 miles wide. Together, these portions of land will measure 8 1/3 miles long by 6 2/3 miles wide. None of this special land may ever be sold or traded or used by others, for it belongs to Yahuwah. It is set apart as holy. An additional strip of land, 8 1/3 miles long by 1 2/3 miles wide, south of the sacred temple area, will be allotted for public use, homes, pasture lands, and common lands, with a city at the center. The city will measure 1.5 miles wide on each side, north, south, east, and west. Open lands will surround the city for 150 yards in every direction. Outside the city, there will be a farming area that stretches 3 1/3 miles to the east and 3 1/3 miles to the west along the border of the sacred area. This farmland will produce food for the people working in the city. Those who come from the various tribes to work in the city may farm it. This entire area, including the sacred lands and the city, is a square that measures 8 1/3 miles on each side. The areas that remain to the east and to the west of the sacred lands and the city will belong to the prince. Each of these areas will be 8 1/3 miles wide, extending in opposite directions to the eastern and western borders of Israel, with the sacred lands and the sanctuary of the temple in the center. So the prince's land will include everything between the territories allotted to Judah and Benjamin, except for the area set aside for the sacred lands and the city. These are the territories allotted to the rest of the tribes. Benjamin's territory lies just south of the prince's land, and it extends across the entire land of Israel from east to west. South of Benjamin's territory lies that of Simeon, also extending across the land from east to west. Next is the territory of Issachar, with the same eastern and western boundaries. Then comes the territory of Zebulun, which also extends across the land from east to west. The territory of Gad is just south of Zebulun, with the same borders to the east and west. The southern border of Gad runs from Tamar and the waters of Meribah at Kadesh, and then follows the brook of Egypt to the Mediterranean. These are the allotments that will be set aside for each tribe's exclusive possession. I, the sovereign Lord, have spoken. Uncle JB, good morning. Mom, shalom. Kurt, Sandy, shalom. These will be the exits to the city. On the north wall, which is 1.5 miles long, there will be 3 gates, each one named after each tribe of Israel. The first will be named for Reuben, the second for Judah, the third for Levi. On the east wall, also 1.5 miles long, the gates will be named for Joseph, Benjamin, and Dan. The south wall, also 1.5 miles long, will have gates named for Simeon, Issachar, and Zebulun. On the west wall, also 1.5 miles long, the gates will be named for Gad, Asher, and Naphtali. The distance around the entire city will be 6 miles, and from that day, the name of the city will be The Lord is There. And clearly, if you read Revelation, you'll know that this portion, when they're talking about the 12 gates in the city, it comes right from the book of Ezekiel, if you had not realized that. All right, last chapter for today, Daniel, chapter 1, Daniel and Nebuchadnezzar's court. During the 3rd year of King Jehoiakim's reign in Judah, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came to Jerusalem and besieged it. Yahuwah gave him victory over King Jehoiakim of Judah and permitted him to take some of the sacred objects from the temple of Yah. So Nebuchadnezzar took them back to the land of Babylonia and placed them in the treasure house of his God. Then the king ordered Ashpenaz, his chief of staff, to bring to the palace some of the young men of Judah's royal family and other noble families who had been brought to Babylon as captives. Select only strong, healthy, and good looking young men, he said. Make sure they are well versed in every branch of learning, are gifted with knowledge and good judgment, and are suited to serve in the royal palace. Train these young men in the language and literature of Babylon. The king assigned them a daily ration of food and wine from his own kitchens. They were to be trained for 3 years, then they would enter into the royal service. Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah were 4 of the young men chosen, all from the tribe of Judah. The chief of staff renamed them with these Babylonian names. Daniel was called Belteshazzar. Hananiah was called Shadrach. Mishael was called Meshach. And Azariah was called a bad Negro. No, it's Abednego. And Daniel was determined not to defile himself by eating the food and wine given to them by the king. He asked the chief of staff for permission not to eat these unacceptable foods. Now, Yahuwah had given the chief of staff both respect and affection for Daniel, but he responded, I am afraid of my lord the king, who has ordered that you eat this food and wine. If you become pale and thin compared to the other youths your age, I am afraid that the king will have me beheaded. Daniel spoke with the attendant who had been appointed by the chief of staff to look after Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Please test us for 10 days on a diet of vegetables and water, Daniel said. At the end of 10 days, see how we look compared to the other young men who are eating the king's food. Then make your decision in light of what you see. The attendant agreed to Daniel's suggestion and tested them for 10 days. At the end of 10 days, Daniel and his 3 friends looked healthier and better nourished than the young men who had been eating the food assigned by the king. So after that, the attendant fed them only vegetables instead of the food and wine provided for the others. Yahuwah gave these 4 young men an unusual aptitude for understanding every aspect of literature and wisdom. And Yahuwah gave Daniel the special ability to interpret the meanings of visions and dreams. When the training period ordered by the king was completed, the chief of staff brought all the young men to King Nebuchadnezzar. The king talked with them, and no one impressed him as much as Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. So they entered the royal service. Whenever the king consulted them in any matter requiring wisdom and balanced judgment, he found them 10 times more capable than any of the magicians and enchanters in his entire kingdom. Daniel remained in the royal service until the first year of the reign of King Cyrus. And that, my beautiful people, is our reading for today. Uncle Nathaniel, peaceful greetings. All right, so I hate to cut Daniel off right after the first chapter. Like, this is my most favorite book. All of my favorites, but I got a special love for Daniel. I really do. I really do. I got a special love for the book of Daniel. Okay, y'all. So we're gonna pick up where we left off at yesterday on page 351. So also, if you've never tested the diet or the lifestyle of eating that Daniel and the 3 Hebrew boys embarked upon, you should really try it. It really does. Just like they gain wisdom, I'm telling you, you will gain wisdom from Yah. Yahuwah will begin to pour more into you, right? And you will seem to have wisdom that is well beyond your years, right? You're like, well, how you know that? Like, well, how did you hear that? Well, I can't really explain to you. All I can say is just y'all revealed it to me, and it just like the wisdom that you give, like it can be tested and it's proven true, and it's baffling. Like even unknown things that like even people who try to get a one up on you or whatever, even those hidden things are revealed to you so that you stay ahead of those who might be trying to deceive you, and hidden things will become known to you. It's wild how it happens, but it's friggin' amazing. I wouldn't trade that for the world. Like y'all should really look into. That's why I guess that's why a lot of people do when they fast. They call it the Daniel fast, meaning they only eat like fruits and veggies, right? Some will just eat veggies, some will just eat fruits, some will do a compilation of both, right? But you will tell the difference. Even those who are going plant-based, you can really tell the difference in your body and the clarity that you get and spiritual things and insight than what you got while you were filling yourself with the king's meat, right? All the process, everything, how you all the good taste and smell of them, the meats, the delicacies, the pastries, all of this stuff, right? If we forego the king's delicacies for those things that truly nourish the body and doesn't just satisfy the the uh the gluttony in us or the desires of those things that eventually kill us or cause our bodies to be diseased, if we nourish our body with those things that truly give life, they truly give life, and you'll begin to experience life in every part of your body, not just your physical body, but even your spirit, your mental mind frame, your clarity gets better. It's just amazing. Yeah, that's right. Fish, is it okay to eat? Yeah, that's your choice, Kurt. Is it okay for you to eat? It might. How does it make your body feel when you eat it? Me, when I as I was transitioning off to meat, I kind of went cold turkey. But then when I got pregnant with my 4th child, I kind of relapsed, if you want to call it that, because I was craving fried chicken and fried fish and stuff. And from that point, when I started doing that when I was pregnant with him, it took me like another whole 2 years to completely break myself away from meat altogether. Fish is considered meat. It's a protein. It's an animal, although it's a water animal. But depending on your body, Kurt, you know. But when you eat fish, it does the same thing to your body like beef or chicken or turkey or any other meat. It putrefies in your colon, in your system. I'm sorry, it putrefies in your intestines. Yeah, yeah. They didn't say they were right. Dana, you right. They didn't say they were fasting. They were just eating what they were supposed to eat, right? That was their lifestyle. Yep, it's good. It's special how the Most High looks out for his people, even in our capacity. He really looked out for them. Absolutely. Okay, y'all. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Y'all hear me talk about it a lot, right? That's you should really try it. Even if you don't do it 100%, at least give yourself 30 days. Test it. Test it. Test it. Test it. Keep track of it. Oh, even right, okay. Even in our captivity, he really looked out for Daniel. You're right. Okay, y'all. The linchpin of all history, right? It says the first resurrection. Let's see. Okay, I'll read this. The first resurrection. It says Yahusha's return to earth. See, I said I'll read it because we know, well, first of all, if we know, it ain't gonna be Yahusha. What the world uh or who the world calls Yahusha is really another term for who they think Jesus is, right? It ain't gonna be him. It's not gonna be him. And if you think it's gonna be him, you might want to go through and read the scriptures, right? It's not gonna be him. It's gonna be Yahuwah. And that's not gonna be for a very, very long time when he come and he abides with his people, right? Okay. The first resurrection will be the calling forth of the bride of Yahuwah, or the first fruits, which I would think is the waking up, right? Like that's the first resurrection, us waking up all over the world to the four corners of earth where we are. To me, from what I understand, and even in the valley of dry bones, that's the first resurrection, right? Okay. This is a time of the wedding supper of the Lamb. These are all the idioms describing the chosen ones and their joining to Yahuwah when all his fullness dwells in them. At the first resurrection, a changing of the guard will occur, as the beast and the false prophet will be the first and only ones to enter into the lake of fire. Do you want some of this?
I don't want to make noise.
Okay, very good. Who or what is the beast? The beast is an idiom for the reign of Babel. The beast is the the beast is the bureaucracy of Babel currently reigning in the world. It's a highly organized authoritarian structure of teaching authorities and governments. It includes Babel's operation, system, network, and pattern of behavior, and all witchcraft, along with the orders of the world system, clergy, nobility, and laity. The reign of Yahuwah is near, and that is our message. At Yahuwah's coming, this beastly reign will be completely wiped out. Babel the Great is fallen, is fallen. Revelation chapter 18 and 2. The beast is not literally a person, and neither is the false prophet. These two entities represent the authoritarian control that is to be taken out of the way when Yahuwah begins his reign, which I have come to believe even before I heard him saying it here. It's true. It's an entire system. We were born into the beast system, while people looking for um actual beast or the antichrist to service. I'm like, bro, we living in them days. Like we living in the antichrist system. People looking for like one person. Oh my gosh, that's the antichrist. He gonna start beheading Christians. Like which those are flights of fantasy, people. I know some people might argue with me about that, but I'm telling you, go check into that a little bit more, right? The bureaucracy of Babel and the office of the false prophet never rise again to reign over the earth. 1,000 years pass as Yahuwah reigns on the earth with his bride, the first fruits group. The first fruits are his chosen Nazarene, branches fully connected to him, the root of all power and authority. The first two to enter the lake of fire are the beast and the false prophet, an office claiming to be the Holy Father, meaning they're going to completely go away, right? And you ain't going to have to worry about them and they food no more. And I saw the beast representing the bureaucracy of Babel, which includes the false prophet, the first estate. and the sovereigns of the earth. And the sovereigns of the earth are, okay, so what he's breaking up the scripture, and in parentheses, after the beast, the false prophets, sovereigns of the earth, and after their armies, he put in parentheses what those represent. Okay, so I started again. And I saw the beast, who represents the bureaucracy of Babel, which includes the false prophet, which is the first estate, and the other sovereigns of the earth. The other sovereigns of the earth are the nobility, which is the second estate, and their armies. On their armies are the common people, or the laity, or also known as the third estate. All of them gathered together to fight him who sat on the horse and his army. And the beast was seized, and with him the false prophet who worked signs in his presence, by which he led astray those who received the mark of the beast and those who worshipped his image. The two were thrown alive into the lake of fire, burning with sulfur. Revelation chapter 19, verses 19 through 20. Why are the beast and the false prophet thrown into the lake of fire? The beast and false prophet are the facilities of the reign of Babel. They oversee all world authority given to them by the dragon. Yahuwah's reign will annihilate the dragon's hold over mankind. The dragon offered Yahusha the authority to reign over the entire bureaucracy of Babel. Again, the devil took him up on a very high mountain and showed him all the reigns of the world and their esteem, and said to him, all these things I shall give to you if you fall down and worship me. Matthew chapter 4, verses 8 and 9. If we interpret the idiom lake of fire literally to be a sea of flames for eternal torture rather than a term meaning utter annihilation, then we have ignored the idiom. We miss the meaning of the beast and the false prophet as well. These two authorities, principalities, and powers that have to be taken out of the way at Yahuwah's coming. It's not the reign of the Holy Spirit that's taken out of the way. And now you know what restrains for him to be revealed in his time. For the secret of lawlessness is already at work, only until he who now restrains comes out of the midst, right? The one who restrains all righteousness from breaking forth. It's the reign of Babel, and it's talking about the reign of Babel being taken out of the way. And I know you here in church, they completely say the opposite of this. They think when the Holy Spirit is taken, all the saints is going to be taken away. Then it's going to be utter chaos and devastation on earth. It's going to be the reign of the Antichrist. That ain't what it say. That ain't even what it's talking about. It's the opposite. Babel, the reign of Babel, the beast system is the one that restrains all holiness and goodness from overflowing the earth, right? That thing restrains. That thing will be removed and taken out of here. Utter annihilation, right? Remember that. Church teach everything backwards. And now you know what restrains. And if they hadn't been teaching this backwards, the good old saints wouldn't be believing they're going to be snatched up out of here, off into the air somewhere. That is not what's going to happen. Remember, the righteous inherit the earth and the wicked are rooted out, i.e., he who restrains the wicked system, beast system that restrains righteousness from coming forth, will be rooted out of the earth. All that is not good will be pruned, plucked up, rooted. All the tares is going to be separated from the wheat. It's going to be taken and thrown to the fire. All of this is the same idioms explaining the same thing. There's going to be one taken and one left. You want to be the one that's left, right? And they teach you in church, ooh, you left behind. You're going to endure the reign of the beast, the Antichrist. Y'all are reading this, but your interpretation and understanding this is all jacked and screwed, right? And it's like we're reading the same words, but your understanding is completely different, right? And the whole Left Behind series don't make it any better. They're further pushing this lie. They're teaching you, and they're playing movies in front of your face, and it's giving you the wrong perspective.
Why can't Poppy appear with this?
I don't know, just because you chose to do it. They try to guide
I did. Dad did.
Okay, they try and guide your perception of what's being said to get you to ignore what's right in front of your face. Like, yes, this says that let's say the sky is red, but clearly the sky is blue, right? It's like one of those type of things. They try to fool you. They try to fool your eyes. But with your eyes you can see, but also with your eyes you can be deceived. And it's one of those type of things where they're teaching everything backwards. Yes, honey.
I can have my Skittle in them.
No, your nose is stuffy. You still talking about candy? No, that's not gonna make it better. Wait for me to juice you something. Close it out. Close it out. I'm gonna send you upstairs. Don't start it. Close my freezer.
I want some.
I know you do, but you're not getting it. All right. So chill. All right. Hold on, y'all. 1 second. Hold on. We about to do this. Upstairs. Babe. Come on there. Come on there. She's doing the most. Okay. Has back. Okay. So he who restrains is the beast system, restraining all holiness and righteousness and what's good to come through, right? That is going to be taken away. Not the Holy Spirit and all the saints. They ain't going to be taken away. The saints is left, people. The righteous inherit the earth. The wicked are rooted out. Remember that. Yahuwah says that all the way through Old Testament. You read it, and when you get to the New, and actually when you get to the New, that kind of lines up with that. But for some reason, when they teach it, they flip it around, right? So now you got people believing that. You got people paying to get out of purgatory and all this kind of dumb crap. I'm just saying. I know some people don't like when I say that because they believe it. But it is what it is, people. I didn't make it up. I'm just repeating it, right? All I'm doing, I'm sitting here, I'm just reading this stuff to y'all. These two are authorities, principalities, and powers that have to be taken out of the way at Yahuwah's coming. It's not the reign of the Holy Spirit that is taken out of the way. And now you know what restrains for him to be revealed in this time. For the secret of lawlessness is already at work, only until he who now restrains comes out of the midst. And he who restrains is he who is working lawlessness, right? That's the secret, is him. And then the lawless one shall be revealed, whom the master shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and bring to naught. Naught is annihilation, lay waste, with the manifestation of his coming. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power and signs and wonders of falsehood, and with all deceit of unrighteousness in those perishing, because they did not receive the love of truth in order for them to be delivered. And for this reason, Yahuwah sends them a working of delusion for them to believe the falsehood, in order that all should be judged who did not believe the truth, but have delighted in the unrighteousness. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 6 through 12. And what is the truth? Yahuwah's law, Yahuwah's instructions. Oh, Yah, your Torah is the truth. Amos talks about it. Those who reject knowledge, right? It's not rejecting Jesus. He said no. Matter of fact, if you read about the suffering servant, it gives more clarity to all of this. It's the servant with knowledge of what's going on, right? It's the servant's knowledge, Israel's knowledge of the truth and the truth of Torah, and they explain it to the nations of the earth. Those who receive Torah receive the truth, right? Those are the ones who are saved. Now you can use your good common sense with actual facts and truth. Wait a minute. What in the world we been doing? Oh no, y'all can take that foolishness and go on with that. I'm staying right here. Ain't come get no spaceships and take me nowhere. Like people's waiting for spaceships, my G. California, they seeing stuff in the sky. I ain't gonna say it's not there. I mean, some things clearly you can see in some places where you can't see it in others. I'm not saying it's not there, but I'm also not saying that it's not Project Bluebeam either. It could be, it could not be. But I'm just saying, if you think what you see up there is coming to take you off this earth, and if you leave with it, then you deserve everything that's coming to you. I'm telling y'all. The second resurrection. The second resurrection will involve the rest of mankind who did not merit the higher calling. They are not the bride, but are the great harvest, different from the first fruits. So remember, if you was here yesterday, we was talking about all these different idioms. And so when I'm saying these words and like putting first fruits or bride, higher calling, we know that these are idioms and it's referring to something else, right? They will face the judgment of the great white throne and will enter eternal life only if their names appear in the scroll of life. The rest will be sent into the lake of fire where the beast and the false prophet are. This will also be the time the dragon and those malachim that follow him will enter into the lake of fire and face utter annihilation forever. They will inhabit the outer darkness, an idiom for non existence. Those who face this loss will weep and chatter their teeth as they grope with the horrifying prospect ahead of them. Many believe they will be tormented for all eternity, but for that they would have to receive immortal bodies to endure the suffering. A better interpretation is that they will be tormented by eternity, a wonderful gift of infinite value. All they had was to submit. All they had to do was to submit to Yahuwah. They face a second death, and that death is eternal, meaning without end. They are destroyed or annihilated, laid waste, meaning you are no more, right? Like if you go into eternity, like your soul ceases to exist for eternity. And that's what it is, being forever. The second death, that's it. Like there's nothing else left for you. Like it's like you was here and then you were gone. No more. That's what that means. Okay. They face a second death, and that death is eternal, without end. They are destroyed, annihilated, laid waste. In Yahusha's illustration, notice the term grave. The Hebrew word used was Sheol, and it came to be that the beggar died and was carried by the messengers to the bosom of Abraham, and the rich man also died and was buried. And while suffering tortures in the grave, having lifted up his eyes, he saw Abraham from far away and Eleazar in his bosom. Eleazar is Lazarus. Luke chapter 16, verses 22 through 23. The Pharisees believed in the resurrection from the dead, and that belief is based on references in the Tanakh. When a person died, it was said that they were gathered or slept. Genesis 25, verse 8. And Abraham breathed his last and died in a good old age, aged and satisfied, and was gathered to his people. This is an idiomatic description of death. Idiomatic expressions apply themselves to specific conversational applications familiar only to a native group or period. Our own English language receives new words due to culture and technology. Yahusha used the colloquial expression bosom of Abraham to bring attention to the huge gap between the life of a rich man and of a poor man. The rich man would not help the poor man during his life, knowing he needed help. In Yahusha's illustration, the poor man was comforted and gathered to his people. The rich man was presented as one experiencing extreme shame for the way he ignored Eleazar or Lazarus. And this is brought out as a reference to heat. We can relate this to how we feel blood rush to our face when we are embarrassed, causing our face to become hot and blood red. This is very much like the idiom coals of fire heaped upon someone's head used in this verse. Beloved, do not revenge yourselves, but give place to wrath, for it has been written, vengeance is mine, I shall repay, says Yahuwah. Instead, if your enemy hungers, feed him. If he thirsts, give him a drink, for in doing so you shall heap coals of fire on his head. That's Romans chapter 12, verses 19 and 20. By misunderstanding idioms, people can leap to bizarre conclusions. We should look before we leap. Lake of fire, annihilation, or eternal torture. The lake of fire is an idiomatic expression for a place of utter destruction and is the second death, not eternal life. In Yahusha's time, it was referred to as Gehenna. At this time, it is not occupied by anyone, meaning Yahuwah has not yet annihilated or destroyed anyone. The first to enter it will be the beast and false prophet at Yahuwah's coming. We are to fear not those who can kill the body, but rather the one who can destroy both being. Being is nefesh in Hebrew, Nefesh. But we are to fear not those who can kill the body, but rather the one who can destroy both being and body. Matthew chapter 10:28. And do not fear those who kill the body, but are unable to kill the being, but rather fear him who is able to destroy both being and body in Gehenna, or soul and body, or spirit and flesh, right? Our makeup has two components, not three. In this verse, we see the word destroy used. Without knowing about the idioms, many have claimed the scriptures contain contradictions because most people have received doctrines based on misunderstood idioms and misinterpretations. Yahuwah's true character is not known. Many believe Yahuwah is a terrible, unforgiving God of the Old Testament. When they learn that he is the same yesterday, today, and forever, and comprehend how great his love truly is for us, kings will shut their mouths. Isaiah chapter 52, right? Remember, we read about that because that leads into Isaiah chapter 53, the suffering servant, which is Israel, and kings shut their mouths. And Yahuwah referred to Israel as one person, but if you keep reading, you will realize that he's talking about the entire nation of Israel. Like kings shut their mouths when they realize how Yahuwah truly stands up for his people and protects them and looks out for them, right? That's what it's talking about in Isaiah 52. So you can't read Isaiah 53 without reading Isaiah 52. Matter of fact, you should go all the way back to 50 and read all of them in context so you can really see and understand that Isaiah 53 is not a foretelling of Jesus Christ. It's talking about Israel. And as you get to the bottom half of Isaiah chapter 53, it will further verify that the first half of Isaiah 53 was not a foretelling of Jesus Christ or Yahusha, Yeshua, Yahweh, Shai, whatever you want to call him. It was not, right? So when you get down there and you're paying attention, we're like, wait a minute, hold on, because he ain't never did this. It says he will have long life. See, but he died at 33, where you call him Jesus or Yahusha, Yahweh Shai, Yeshua, he died. It says that his descendants would be blessed. He ain't had no children. He died at 33 and he didn't have children. Okay, wait a minute, something wrong about this. But it also says that his knowledge would be a blessing to his descendants and it would make them free. Oh, well, first of all, he ain't had no descendants, so we know that wasn't fully carried out. So who is this talking about? If you keep on reading, we realize it's Israel. All the world stands in awe at the nation of Israel and what Yahuwah begins to do with his people as he reveals truth and knowledge and restores ancient wisdom to his people, and his people begin to teach the ancient wisdom and truth that the prophets and Abraham and them knew. Bruh. Okay. Kabbalah. All right. Let me show you this picture. Y'all probably familiar with some of this stuff, right? If you ever looked into the chakras and all this stuff. So he about to explain the version of all this stuff where people do magic, which you actually can take this and do magic with it. But there is a physical element to all of this that's describing the body where everybody have, right? So that's what the portion I talk about, where it's showing this, and it has the medical caduceus going through the body, which is connecting all the chakras or the energy centers, right? Everybody has these, right? And it's connected to actual organs in your body. Although you can see the organs, you can cut somebody's body open and see the organs, but what you can't see is the energy that it produces for the body, which is what they produce. And that's what, when you hear a lot of people talking about, they're talking about that type of energy that causes the body to operate, right? Because you see me moving around, the energy that I have, you can see the result of my energy by seeing my flesh move around, right? But my body in its working order down my spine is my main organs, which are attached to energy centers, right? If one breaks down, it begins to affect the other. That's why when you cleanse your body, you should clean it properly in a certain line, because as it begins to detox, different things will flow through the liver and the kidneys. And you don't want to defeat your own purpose of cleansing, right? So if you're actually taking herbs and stuff, when you're taking herbs, you should do it in a certain order just to make sure you're not cleansing something and then you're going to go cleanse another portion. Hold on. You should cleanse it in a proper order to where it all flows smoothly, where you don't like be dumping poisons back into your system by improperly cleansing, if that makes sense, right? So there's a way. If you talk to master herbalists, they'll teach you about that. It's two that three. Dr. Sabi is no longer here, so people still alive today. I like Yah'ki and Patrick Delves, who is in the Caribbean. Both of them are master herbalists. Both of them got YouTube channels and pages where you can go. And I think Yah'ki is really knowledgeable, but Patrick Delves, master herbalist Patrick Delves, he does his videos is really good, and I would say he explains it. He explains it just as good as Yah'ki. Matter of fact, he been there longer than Yah'ki. But I like his videos because in his videos, he actually lists out for you the different herbs for different things. And in there, in his store, his shop where he has his herbs, he writes out for you and shows it on the screen how much of each herb you need to take, because some people may not be able to order it or whatever. So if you locally, you know how much to get and the proper amount to use in each one and how long you should take. I really like him for that, right? I learned a lot of stuff. So remember, Patrick Delves, anything you can go look up to how to reverse diabetes type 1 and type 2. And I know some people tell you that if you're on insulin, you'll probably be taking it for the rest of your life. That's a lie. It's a way to restore the pancreas to where your body begins producing its own insulin again in the appropriate fashion and manner. But there's a proper way you have to cleanse your system, the lymphatic system, the blood, and everything to help restore the pancreas and get it jump started again. He is very thorough. He is so good about that. Everything. MS, diabetes, reversing cancer, all different types of cancers and stuff. And he writes it out, right? And it's really, really thorough. Who was a Yah'ki? Yah'ki Awaken. If you just go type in YouTube Yah'ki Awaken, and both of them are black guys. Yah'ki has dreads, but he been putting his dreads up in head wrap. So you'll see him. You'll know who it is. He the only one named Yah'ki Awaken, has a tattoo right here in the middle of his forehead. But he's very thorough and knowledgeable too. They're both master herbalists, right? Yah'ki's production is a little more professional. Not that Patrick's is not, but Yah'ki got more production work and stuff going on to where his videos are nice and clear. Patrick's it's just like he taking his cell phone and he going through, but he old school, but he know his stuff. And I'll leave links to both of them, to both of their social medias where you can go. And they're active doing lives and stuff all the time. You can do consultations with them if you got different issues going on, some of everything. If anything going on wrong with your body, they can tell you how to reverse it with herbs and heal it, right? And get these energy centers or these chakras flowing like they should so the body can operate at maximum performance, right? It's so good. Okay. Oh yeah, 55 minutes. Okay, let's read this section about the Kabbalah, right? And I showed you the picture of the human body with the medical caduceus going down the middle of the body. The energy centers are going down the actual spine that everybody has, with all the actual organs that everybody have in their body, trying to get people not to be so scary when you see this, right? Understand what's going on. It is some people that's using witchcraft with. We ain't talking about that. We're actually talking about what the body actually does, right? Because if you go screwing with your body, eating wrong, it's going to throw your energy centers off. And I know coming out to church, some people are like, careful. Okay, listen to what we're saying. I ain't talking about practicing magic, hocus pocus. Depending on where you come from, where you live. If you live outside of the Western world, you'll hear the word chakra and energy center more than what you would hear over here in America. America is just now kind of catching up with some of the terms that the other people are using, right? But it's talking, if you actually listen to some of them in the medical field or holistic doctors or holistic nutritionists, they will use those terms, right? Everybody's starting to get familiar with it now, but they ain't talking about something witchcrafty, y'all. It's literally talking about the energy that your body produces when you feed it appropriately, when you give it the right amount of sun that it needs, when you nourish it, right? Oh, that was my plant light. It will give your body energy, like I said, where you can move and you can tell, hey, your body is getting better. And it happens naturally when you go to a plant-based diet. It just kind of cleans these systems up. And in the medical field here in America, when you hear chakra, what I know it to be is the endocrine system, right? You can say chakra or you can say endocrine system. For when we stand in America, you talking to people coming out to church, you probably shouldn't use the word chakra. It's going to freak them out. Just use endocrine system, right? Because you're talking about the same exact thing. When you learn about the endocrine system, you're going to learn about the energies that flow through the body from all your, I know you see the line and the lights and stuff, but that's where all the major organs are in your body, along your spine, the physical spine that everybody has that goes from the base of the brain all the way down to the tailbone. Everybody has it. Every human being has it. And attached and along that spine are the organs, right? Or the energy centers. And if you take care of your body and you feed it appropriately, they will work and produce and give your body the energy it needs to live and thrive. Yes. Oh, you like what Yah'ki said about the circadian rhythm? Yeah, girl. There'd be some good stuff. You can't be super spooky. You just learn about your body. Just take a health class or go get a anatomy and physiology book. And if you learn about the body, all the spookiness will go away, people. I'm just saying. So, what I'm not saying is that there is not a certain group of people that are taking this and using it for witchcraft things, because there are. I'm not negating that, because they are. I am not saying go do that. Stay away from that. Far away from that. But do learn about your body and the energies that flow so you can learn how to operate your body appropriately. It will give you strength and it will heighten you spiritually, right? There are proper ways and there are wrong ways to do things. Learn about the body and how it operates is the proper way to do it. Take note, track what happens when you feed it certain things, when you deny it certain things. How much more are you on top of your game when your energies, the energy systems in your bodies are flowing, right? Because if you can't get control of your base nature, like your root and your sacral chakra, meaning you're eating and all, you drinking all this, you can't get that under control. A physical thing, if you can't get that under control, I don't even have to use the word sacral and root chakra. I can just tell you out of control. If you can't get your eating under control, and your smoking and your drinking and your lifestyle under control, everything else is gonna go out of whack. Everything dealing with your heart, your relationships is gonna go out of whack, right? Because you got people that love and care for you, that want to see you live and do better, but you're doing things to destroy yourself because you can't get your base animal nature under control. So it's going to begin to affect the heart chakra, anything dealing with relationships with people, your job, your business. You ain't gonna be able to hold nothing down. And when you can't do that, you become stifled. Nobody listen to anything you got to say because you can't get yourself under control. Your throat chakra. Ain't nobody gonna listen to nothing you got to say. You can't even control your own life, your body. So that becomes out of whack. Then you get all discombobulated and you can't think straight, right? And now you're pissed with the world and your third eye can't open. You see what I'm saying? It's things in life that they give terms to and tell you to stay away from. Okay, I get that, but when you understand what's really happening and you just learn about your body and how it affects every area of your life, common sense will begin to click in. And you don't have to use the chakra terms or anything. Just so you can just put those terms here, you just put them away. Don't use them. Actually use the definitions of what it's talking about. Get your eating under control, right? Stop eating a bunch of junk, right? Level your body out. Get it the proper exercise, right? Learn how to be efficient. Learn how to do your job well. Learn how to show up to work on time in your business. Learn how to be diligent in your studies, right? Learn how to fix relationships, forgive people, give somebody another chance. You know, not everybody deserve another chance. I ain't saying giving people that don't deserve another chance. You see what I'm saying? Learn how to work through these issues in life. And when you do, your life will begin to pan out and it becomes smooth and you can better fulfill your life's purpose or whatever it is you want to do. Relationships will come better when you get your life under control because you can control yourself, and now you're just not going to accept any old thing from anybody that want to give you and do anything to you that they want to do. Your boundaries are set and you don't allow anybody to cross those boundaries, right? All of this is about simply bringing yourself, nobody else, yourself into balance, right? And becoming balanced and at peace with all that is around you, right? And you can live and you can grow and you can understand, you can raise a healthy family and repeat the cycle and teach them how to live and grow and be healthy individuals. Keep good relationships, restore what's broken. Oh my gosh, spiritual insight, dreams come alive, wisdom comes to you. That's all this is, right? But he's going to go into some of the hocus pocus, witchcrafty stuff, right? Okay. Kabbalah, aka Kabbalah, it sounds the same, but it's spelled with a C. The mysticism of rabbinic Judaism. This subject concerns teachings, not people. When we learn new things concerning our behavior, it's our responsibility to test them with the word. Kabbalah is the study of how to receive fulfillment. Advocates say it is a secret method to connect to forces to attain fulfillment. Its secrets are intended to be understood only by a small number of people with a specialized knowledge. Kabbalah is a mystical interpretation of inner meanings of the Torah and oral traditions of the fathers. It emerged 700 years after Islam with the publication of the Zohar. The Zohar is the chief Kabbalah text which directs Torah study along 4 levels of interpretation known by the acronym Pardes, which is Pardes, which means parshat or simple or surface meaning. Then you have the second level, which is Remez, Remez, which means the hinted meaning, or it's hinting to you about something. And you have the search, which is the D apostrophe Rash. And then you have the Sud, Sud, or the hidden meaning. Zohar, hey, I said turn it off. Zohar means splendor and first appeared in Spain in the 13th century, published by Moses de Leon. Interest in the Zohar exploded during the 16th century through Rav, Isaac Luria. He promoted the Zohar, echoing Leon's claim that the thoughts were based on the writings of a first century rabbi. Okay, go over there and wash your hands. He promoted the Zohar, echoing Leon's claim that the thoughts were based on the writings of a first century rabbi, Shimon bar Yochai, under the inspiration of Elijah. Focusing on mystical concepts, Kabbalah reached its height in the later Middle Ages among the Hasidim. It involves esoteric or secret ciphers, codes, an approach to scripture directly condemned by Yahusha in Luke chapter 8. Kabbalah has evolved into new forms among Christians, New Agers, and occultists. The Kabbalist teacher's yoke or teachings allow his students to access higher level interpretations through so-called secret codes. Today, we hear about codes being discovered, exploring the curiosity of allegory-seeking individuals. Yahusha contrasted his yoke with theirs. Take my yoke, or yoke means teaching. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble in heart, and you shall find rest for your beings. For my yoke is gentle and my burden is light. Matthew chapter 11, verse 29 and 30. The Kabbalah student looks upon his teacher as his exalted one, hence the title Rabbi, my exalted one. The term rabbi is not found in the Tanakh. Gnosticism or knowledge, Gnosticism means knowledge. Gnosticism is considered vital to enable one to reach awareness or perfection. The Eastern philosophy of Hinduism teaches a method or path or dharma or path of righteousness that leads a person out of the karmic cycle of reincarnation into nirvana or nothingness. This goal of oblivion is the essence of the Eastern philosophies. The transcendental state is represented by the sky blue skin of their many deities. The deities of the original religions are blue skinned. I'm going to show you this picture. The secret meaning of blue skin. And so he has a picture. I know that don't look blue to you because this is like black and white. But if you know this face, if you ever watch TV, you know those guys, they be in like these little tight, skin tight body leotards, and they're painted blue. So if you recognize his face, you would know that he's blue. So he's showing you the comparison. So when you see these pictures as well, their skin is also painted blue. Boy, move, back up. No, move. No, you don't need to show him that. Back up. Ah. Okay. As we consider the origins of Kabbalah, we draw parallels everywhere to Hinduism's mystical thought. The terms Zohar, splendor, nirvana, enlightenment, connecting, yoking to forces, energies, the four levels of interpretation, dharma, rabbi, guru, and much more indicate that there is a direct correlation between Kabbalah and karmic traditions of Hinduism by means of a methodical presence of learning, aka Gnosticism. Truly I say to you, whoever does not receive the reign of Yahuwah as a child shall certainly not enter into it. Mark 10, chapter 15. Kabbalah means receive. Back up. Forsaking the commandment of Yahuwah, you hold fast to the traditions of men. And he said to them, Well do you set aside the command of Yahuwah in order to guard your traditions? Hold on. Forsaking the command of Yahuwah, you hold fast the tradition of men. And he said to them, Well do you set aside the command of Yahuwah in order to guard your tradition? Mark chapter 7, verses 8 through 9. And we're going to pause right here because it's about to go into the traditions of the fathers. All right, beautiful people. What I say? Y'all keep coming over here getting my space now. Back up. You're crowding me. Back up. 3:55. All right, beautiful people. So we're at 1 hour and 9 minutes Today it is Sunday, August the 22nd, 2021, day 240 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 909. We read Ezekiel chapter 47 and the last chapter 48, and then we started in the book of Daniel chapter 1. We read Fossilized Customs starting at page 351 all the way to page 355. What did I say I was going to share with y'all today? Oh, Yah'ki and Patrick. Let me write that down. I'll share their pages. All right, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed the reading for today. Smurfs. I know they be, oh my gosh, he put on his mask and stuff. He went and pulled some, I got some, I use cooking gloves, right? If he want to put on some, he pulled some out the box, put them on, he put on his mask, he want to get into the camera. Let me show them. No, back up. Right? They be doing the most. But y'all probably used to the shenanigans in my background by now. Well, at least I hope you are. If you're not and it bothers you, I'm sorry. You know? But it is what it is. If you can't handle it, then just, hey. Just gonna have to find something else to do in the morning. All right, the blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. Remember, the first 21 verses is the Nazarite vow. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise you shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Yahuwah will kneel before us, presenting gifts, and will guard us with a hedge of protection. Yahuwah will illuminate the wholeness of his being towards us, bringing order, and he will provide us with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yahuwah will lift up his wholeness of being and look upon us, and he will set in place all we need to be whole and complete. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people. Bell upstairs. See, back up. All right, okay, show him. We want to show you his tree of life. See his little tree.
Can you tell them what the stone is called?
It's I forget. It's a green something that start with an A. I don't know. Okay, we want to show you his too.
It's amethyst.
No, that's not an amethyst. That's an opal. That's an opal. They all have trees of life on their necklaces. They wanted necklaces. We got them gold necklaces, but they be popping chains and stuff. And I'm like, get out of my jewelry box. Josh liked to wear my link. I was like, I'm gonna buy y'all something y'all can't pop. So I looked for these. I was like, oh, we got a tree of life, and it's the little leather. Y'all ain't gonna be able to pop these so quick. All right, y'all, back up.
Scissors.
Yeah, you won't get another one. Leave the scissors alone. Okay, y'all. Let me check my comments. They doing the most. All right, and make sure I ain't miss nobody question nothing. All right, y'all.
Yeah, the piston right here, and then.
Thanks, Jessie. She said, please be careful what you watch, Sister Shalom. I will, sis. Thank you for that. Okay, Smurfs. Yeah, I know, right? Get out of here, y'all. All right, y'all. With that being said, baby girl is not here today to end the video, so I'm going to end it. All right, little bird. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. No, I won't see y'all tomorrow. We won't be here tomorrow. I'll see y'all Tuesday, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Mom, are we going to be at?
All right, y'all.
Mom.
Bye.
Mom.
What?
Which one are we going to be at? Waterford, USA?
It's water country.